5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Clingers Have Spoken. My name is Joel. That's Michael. As always, we're talking through Zoom, and we just watched the season finale of season 45 of Survivor. Michael, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Hard to say we didn't see this coming.
Yeah.
Not that interesting of a finale. Jeff teased it would be a tumultuous final tribal council in an interview this week. It was not. So
nope. I was waiting. I was waiting for the moment for D to be like, "Hey, Austin, I lied to you when you couldn't lie to me." So yeah, I thought it was crazy. I mean, that was like once she said like, "Hey, Austin, BT Dub, like I did lie to you and you don't know that yet." That was the moment that I knew like we're gonna end on this. They're gonna vote and D's gonna win. That's just like flat out like the thing. I find it so crazy that he didn't know that D blindsided him until that moment. Like that's how much he like trusted her. You know, like I thought that was so wild.
Yeah, I mean, Austin just, come on, man. Like, put 2 and 2 together to figure that out. She's obviously the person who would have told Julie.
It's just, man, like, dude, like, I know you want to believe that she would never lie to you, but you're also playing Survivor. Like, man, like, you didn't think to even, like, ask her or, like, follow up? Because we didn't really see, like, him, like, press. Like, I think maybe it was like, did you tell her? And she was like, no, I didn't tell her.
Yeah, she said, no, I didn't tell her. No. Okay, well, you're obviously the person who would tell her. So, like Austin just, he got lost in the sauce. Yeah. Austin probably is the winner of the season if he doesn't get lost in the sauce and, keeps it professional with D. Austin's probably the guy who wins this season.
Austin played an awesome game. For like so many people, I feel like talk about like big physical threats, and like Jonathan got labeled as this in his season, and like I feel like we've reached an interesting point in Survivor where like the big physical threats are like at this weird point where they're like not being targeted, but they still get claimed as like, oh, like they're big targets, but they're not really. And Austin literally didn't get a single vote the whole time. Like and he's charming. Like he's not like a jerk. He's not an idiot. He's charming and he's like a big physical threat. And he didn't get a vote the whole time. He messed up one time. You know? He messed up once. He messed up once and he lost the game. Like that dynamic is so fascinating because I feel like it's the first time that we may have seen this with like a guy. I know that when Rob and Amber played, Rob like fell in love with Amber and didn't win that season. It kind of feels like that a little bit, but Austin's not Rob. Austin's not like a jerk that was like lying and backstabbing and controlling, you know?
Yeah. I mean, D played a perfect game and Austin played a really good game. And they both were really lucky to be in the situation that they were in. And so, they didn't have to, they weren't facing some of the adversity that a lot of the other players on the jury were. And so I think that played to their advantage, and Austin played a great game. And honestly, if Austin wins final tribal or final immunity challenge instead of D, and he could have won the whole thing, or maybe he puts himself in fire And that's the other thing. If D had put Austin in fire, Austin probably would have won.
I
But he
don't.
didn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that Austin only would have won if he won the challenge and then put himself in fire against D, and he wasn't going to do that.
Put himself in fire against D.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
wasn't going to do that. Like that. Like that's the thing. Austin played such a wonderful game. It honestly reminds me a lot more of Xander's game as like the physical threat that never actually got like voted out, like hardly ever, or was even like talked about voting him out. But I guess people didn't like Xander, and Xander was not like in the power majority the whole time.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of seasons Austin wins. He just went with D instead of Katurah.
Yep. He got lost in the sauce and went to the end with D. And that was his downfall.
Yeah. I mean, what a game by D. Like, shouts to D. She played the best game of the season. And Jake was like, I felt like these guys played a safe game. And it's like, well, yeah, the safe game was beneficial to them.
Yeah.
Like they didn't need to do anything else, and you shouldn't be punished for that. They played a wonderful game because it was easy and everyone else let them. And I think D just really took hold of this game at the final 7. The second she lied to Austin, voted out Emily, and then voted out Drew, she won the game. It was so clear. That was the pivotal moment where if anyone was going to do anything otherwise, it needed to happen then.
Well, Katurah had the chance tonight to actually vote D out.
Dude. Yeah. What was your reaction to that? Because I want to tell you mine, but what was your reaction to Katurah? Oh, I'm changing my vote because I don't feel safe.
My reaction was freaking Katurah. She always does this. This she played Katurah played the safe game, but wasn't in an advantageous position the whole game, and she kept playing the safe game. When you're in her position, you can't win like that. You have to make the unsafe play, and that's what Jake kept trying to do. But the problem was Jake kept having to rely on Katurah, and Katurah kept not playing the way that she told Jake she was going to. This happened several times post-merge, and it happened again tonight, and they had a chance. The winner of this season was vulnerable.
Yep.
Jake did everything that he needed to do to get D out. Personally, I don't think if Jake tells Katurah that he's going to play his idol for her, that it makes much of a difference in her mind.
No.
Because if she doesn't trust Jake that he's going to actually do that, what does it matter?
Exactly. And I feel like that would make it more suspicious for Katurah. She'd be like, no, you're not. Like, you're not going to do that.
And like, the fact is, every time Jake has tried to work with Katurah and said, I'm going to do this, he has done it. She has no reason not to trust him.
Yeah.
Time and time again, Jake's like, I'm doing this. Will you do this with me? And she says, sure. And then she doesn't vote with him. And Jake continually did exactly what he told Katurah he was going to do. He said, hey, let's go to Rocks for Caleb. Like, we need that number. We're going to need that number. She doesn't do it because she doesn't feel safe. And time again after that. And, I think Dee's best move was just like making Katurah think that she was her best friend.
Yeah, which is insane. Like I don't know how you watch this season or are on the island with them and think that Dee is going to swap either Julie or Austin for you.
No.
Like, that makes no sense. I'll tell you my reaction. I literally was like, just not yelling. I wasn't yelling at the TV, but I was forcefully talking at the television. Like, Katurah, what are you doing? Like, the logic just doesn't really make sense to me. Like, why would throwing one vote on Julie make it a difference? Like, if you think you're going to get all the votes, then you're not safe. Period. You're going home. If you think you're going to get 3 votes at that time, you're going home. Throwing one vote on Julie when Jake said he was going to vote D. Why, if Jake really wanted Julie to go home, he would just tell you he wanted Julie to go home. Like, that's stupid. It doesn't make logical sense. And I think Katurah is a great person, but I think she just made all the errors in the world. She trusted the wrong people, and she got very far in the game, but she was never going to win with that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, for starters, Jake messed up by telling everyone he had an idol.
Yes. So let's not talk about Jake like he should have been the winner. Jake was dumb. Jake was so dumb in talking to Austin about that.
Yeah.
And then talking to Katurah. And then, of course, like, why would you trust Austin? Like, you're not in his alliance. You're not. You're just not.
Well, it's funny, like, at Final Tribal, everyone tries to act as if their blunder was something that they did on purpose. And, like, Jake is like, well, I told everyone about my idol so that they wouldn't vote for me, and then I could use it in a more flashy way and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I'm not really buying that. And then, like, you have at Final Tribal Council, Austin's like, yeah, and I totally, like, let Drew get voted out. It's like, you didn't know Drew was getting voted out. That wasn't a strategic. He's like, it was to my advantage to let Drew get voted out because he would have split votes with me. And it's like, bro, that's not what happened. Like, everyone's turning their mess up into, like, something that they did on purpose strategically.
Yeah, like, he's not wrong about that. Like, him and Drew would have split votes, maybe. I don't know if people like Drew that much, but it seemed like they were okay with him. He would have split votes with Drew, but he didn't plan that at all. Right. And I think that's the interesting thing about Tribal Council. Like, rarely do you ever see a person make it to the end knowing what was going to happen every single Tribal Council. D did that.
Yeah.
Like, D, even when Julie got sent home, she was like, yeah, I know that's going to happen. But also, like, I can't do anything about it, and I'm not going to go home, and it's not really that big of a detriment because I'm so close to the end already. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, D played the perfect game. I want to talk about Jake for a minute, though.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Jake is the guy I was rooting for tonight. Now, you know, coming in tonight, don't think he has a chance to win, but you think maybe he could win. You know, maybe he starts off, he gets that advantage in the immunity challenge. He's really close to the immunity challenge. Think if he wins this immunity challenge, he's safe, and he can play an idol on Katurah, you know, and that could be seen as a big move. And then maybe it's, you know, him and two Rebas at the end. The Rebas split the votes, and Jake gets a few votes and wins. But Jake made some blunders tonight. I've got to, like, I love Jake, and he's a great character because Jake always goes for it.
Yeah.
But he's always like 75% good, but that 25% always messes him up. Like, just the stuff like everything from, like, walking on on top of the challenge to, like, what was that, man? Like, he broke the challenge.
Dude, when I saw that, I was kind of like, that's honestly genius. Just, like, railroad the thing, get across it as fast as possible. I had kind of the opposite reaction. I was like, why would you make a challenge that's, like, breakable that easy? Like if you're going to make the ropes like that, like, the goal is to not mess up the balance. But I didn't realize that challenges were, like, breakable. So, like, if you, like, you could, like, that would be like bending a key that you needed to, like, fit a hole or something. And it's like, that's, like, highly improbable. And did they tell them, like, before they started that it's like, you can break this if you just step on it? Because Jake just started walking on it, and Jeff was like, you're done if you break the challenge. If you break it, you're done. And like, I don't know if that was like
No.
in a thought in Jake's head ahead of
No.
time where he was just like, I don't care. I'm just gonna walk across it. I'll get there faster. Like I'm frustrated. I don't care. Let me just walk across because whatever. Like,
Yeah, it was like obviously you're not supposed to do that on the challenge. You're obviously not supposed to do that. But like that's not how the challenge is made. Like that's not a loophole. But in Jake's mind, it was a loophole that he could take advantage of. And it was just like he broke the challenge and he didn't even know he had broken it.
yeah.
Like Jeff's yelling, "You broke the challenge. You're out." And Jake's just it's like, what?
What?
What's going on? Oh, come on. Oh, man. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, Jake is a mess. The dude was ugly crying on TV for like 10 minutes
But-
straight tonight.
Okay, look.
Maybe 30 minutes straight.
I understand that he's a mess and he shouldn't have won. And like, here's the thing. I love Jake though. Like this is like he fell off the horse so many times. Like, I don't know if I would have gotten back on like 3 times, let alone the whole 20 whatever days that he was out there, the whole month that he was out there. The dude just like could not catch a break. He was leaving puzzle pieces all over the place.
Oh my
And it's
gosh.
just like it sucked. It sucked to watch it because I knew Jake wasn't going to win tonight unless he played absolutely immaculately from like the get-go tonight. And he wasn't. He hasn't done that ever. I mean, nobody really has, but like, it's just Jake is what Jeff wants when he talks about people getting back up and finishing the challenge, like, and relating it to life. And like, Jake is such a lovable person, but he absolutely is a 0 vote finalist. Like, he deserves that title because he wasn't really playing the game. Like somebody said it. I think Emily said he's a dark horse because he played his own game. Yeah. And Dee said that about Katurah. It's like, yeah, like Jake and Katurah were off playing their own different games when the real game was being played by Dee and Austin the whole time.
Yeah. Well, and Katurah was just not dealing with reality in the game she was playing. Jake was at least aware of like there's a real game of Survivor happening, and I have been trying to play it, and I just keep whiffing. And Katurah is just like, I'm a dark horse. I'm a sneaky player. I can get to the end and win this because I'm a lawyer, and no one knows that, and no one cares.
Well,
why did we talk about why? The amount of lawyer, attorney, you're a lawyer, you're going to be a lawyer, you're a good lawyer, go to law school, thank you, counselor. The amount of law references that there were in tonight's episode was flagrant. They should get flagged by the FTC for doing that. It's just too much. And they need to reel that in. That was way too much lawyer talk. Like, why are we casting 3 attorneys? They all think that they're hot stuff because they're an attorney. It's just it's a job. It's a job like everyone else's job. What are we doing?
So I don't know. If I went on, I had this thought tonight. If I went on Survivor, I would be tempted to not tell people that I was a therapist. I would be tempted to say I work in retail or I'm a photographer. And I kind of do that when I'm out and people ask me what I do. Depends on the people I'm with, what I tell them. And I don't know, like, I think that's interesting. I don't really know if I was out there, if I heard someone was a lawyer, other than Final Tribal, I don't think that would matter to me at all.
Why would that matter at Final Tribal?
Because they're making arguments. Lawyers are good speakers.
But everyone knows who they're going to vote for before Final Tribal.
Yeah. Okay. Question. Do you find it annoying that they all act like they don't know who they're gonna vote for.
Yeah, I do.
I find that so annoying. It's like, okay, clearly you're not gonna vote for Jake. Someone has to, like, they ask you, why should Jake win? Like, the producers ask that question and you have to answer it.
Right. Yeah, I'm not, and like when they're going through the jury and stuff, I like that scene. I think it's a fun scene. But like they're going through the jury and like they've got as many people saying I might vote for Jake as they have people saying I might vote for D or I might vote for Austin. Those people had no intention of voting for Jake.
Sure.
I mean, what are we doing? Nothing is happening at Final Tribal to change that because the only way that Final Tribal would matter is if they sequestered the jury so that they could not talk to each other once they're voted out of the game. Yeah. So Bruce gets voted out and he just has to hang out by the pool. Like he's in his room and he gets like an allotted 2 hours at the pool where no one else is there. They bring room service to his room. He doesn't get to talk to Emily. He doesn't get to talk to Katurah. He doesn't get to talk to all these people because they're all talking. Going into tribal council, they've already decided it's probably Austin or D, right? Like that's what we're doing tonight, right? And that's why I was a little bit surprised at how close it was between Austin and D. Because it seemed like they hadn't really come to a consensus among them of like before Final Tribal of like this is the person driving the ship. I think D's like final nails in the coffin of like, I blindsided Austin. He didn't know about this. He still doesn't know that this happened. And I think that was kind of like just a shot to the midsection of Austin. Like he's got no comeback for that. He's told D everything that's happening. He has given her a heads up, which like to me isn't a sign of weakness on Austin's part. But to that jury, it was of, hey, you gave D a heads up because you were playing with your heart, but D didn't give you a heads up because she's a cold-blooded killer. And it's like, to me, I kind of like that you played with your heart a little bit and you still got here. I think that's cool. Like maybe I would vote for you for that reason. But no, the Final Tribal Council does not matter. I mean, maybe one person, it's like I'm between one or two people, not like, oh, that third person, man, what if Jake pulls his mask off and says, I'm actually Tom Brady, and I've just been in character as Jake this whole time, this bumbling buffoon. I could have won every immunity challenge. I'm the best looking, most handsome guy, ex-NFL player, now lawyer. You know, like that's not happening.
Right.
They already know who they're not going to vote for Jake. They already knew every third vote, 0 vote finalist. They already know this person's not getting any votes tonight. Bruce was the one person I was like, Bruce may go into Final Tribal tonight and just be like, whatever, I'll vote for whoever convinces me that they did something interesting, that they can give my vote. But like, there's like maybe 2 of those people every jury. Everyone else has already talked about it and decided who it's between, who's a real contender, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm glad you said that about Austin, about him playing with his heart and liking that, because I like that too. I think a lot of people, including myself, would probably still vote for D because she made the necessary move to insulate herself further in the game than Austin did. But D said her whole game was based on relationships, and out of relationships brought her a strategy. And she kind of just like really hurt her relationship with Austin, but he didn't know. And I think in the real world, we would view that as a villain story. And in Survivor, we view it as good and necessary to win the game. I think Austin's in a difficult spot. I think just in public opinion, not even like jury opinion, I think if Austin doesn't tell D, then I think a lot of fans would come for Austin for not telling his number 1 alliance that her number 2 alliance was going to be voted out. And I think there'd be a lot of conversations that come out of that, like gender included. And I think that we saw a man be open about his emotions and his feelings, about his fears in relationship with someone else. And it ultimately cost him. And I think that sucks, personally. But I also think that's just Survivor. That's the way it's been. And D did it when he couldn't. So only Survivor. It's still one Survivor. You don't get two Survivors. It's just. And D, of course, owes her game to like the Reba tribe. She owes like a good portion of her game to Katurah for just being an extra vote and a loyal ally when she didn't really deserve it. But that's Survivor. That's Survivor.
Yeah. I mean, so in my mind, like, I don't know why, and Austin just might not know this. Like, we are like the all-knowing audience, but like, if at Final Tribal, I feel like Austin's argument against D should have been, I've actually done more for the Reba 4 than D. I'm actually the main reason Reba was able to take it the way that we did as soon as it happened. So D's claiming that she like pulled Katurah in, but really what happened is Katurah jumped ship from Bello. She didn't get lured in. She said, "Oh, wait, you didn't tell me something that Bruce had, and now you're telling me, oh, and I don't like that. So I don't like my own group. I'm gonna jump to that."
Yep.
Whereas Emily at the tribe swap is literally between 2 Bello and 2 Reba, and the first person, as soon as they hit the swap beach, to go up to Emily and pull her in was Austin. And as soon as they locked down Emily, and as soon as Katurah just jumped ship, Reba had this game locked down. But
yeah,
there was actually a strategy and skill and timing required by Austin to bring in Emily that was not required by D to bring in Katurah. And so, like, Austin, in my opinion, is just as good of a Survivor player as D. He's just as much of an immunity threat, in my opinion. He's just as social, and he's just a little bit more, like, I don't know, honest, loyal, whatever.
Yeah.
And to me, that makes a difference. Like, I think there's one thing, it's like, I had to lie to get here versus like, I didn't have to lie to get here. I would have gotten here either way. I just lied so that I could say that at tribal council and say that they didn't know everything. And it's like, but does that really matter?
Yeah. All the like do Survivor, there's a ton of talk about I need to make a big move. I need to put this on my resume. Austin and D did not have to do that at all. It literally didn't matter. And Austin didn't win, but he was the second best Survivor player this season, I think. Like, I think he a lot of seasons he may have won, to be honest.
For sure.
I think if he could have built a relationship with D, if D was like a random guy and like there was no like romantic or sexual chemistry between them, maybe he wins $1 million. Like we really don't know the answer to that question.
I mean, if he takes it all the way with Drew, he does.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. If it's like him, Drew, and Jake, like, yeah, I think Austin wins $1 million. But he played with his heart, he played with his relationships, and ultimately he played too much with his relationships when Dee played the right amount with her relationships and loyalty.
Do you think that Dee and Austin are still together?
No, and I was so curious about that. Do you want to look it up right now? I feel like it's got to be.
Madeline was trying to look it up during the episode, like during the reunion part. She couldn't find anything.
Really?
So
probably
that's the
not.
whole point of a reunion show, is so that we can find out if the showmances are still together. What, like, you can't find that out right after Final Tribal.
Exactly.
You want to know, okay, the show just aired. it's been 6 months. Are these people still together? We can't know that now.
This is the one time I would have liked a later reunion. You know?
No, later reunions always better.
An article says
Always better.
Are Dee and Austin still together? Signs point to yes. So,
what signs?
I don't know. I'm not going to read the whole article right now.
You got to give your source, man. Come on. What kind of journalist are you?
Showbiz cheat sheet.
Showbiz cheat sheet. There you go.
It's all rumors. It's not journalism. This is a podcast. Anything goes, you know. We could have Carissa Thompson on here. She could say I said whatever she wanted to say, honestly. So yeah. Wow. What a season of Survivor. You know, in the new era of Survivor, how do we feel about this season?
I don't think it was my favorite. I'm not sure it wasn't my least favorite.
Really?
Yeah. I think I really enjoyed season 41. A lot of people didn't like it. I loved it. 42 I also thought was really enjoyable and good. 43, I don't know. Like when I look back at the seasons, I can see a lot more characters from other seasons that I'm like, oh yeah, those were great characters. I would love to see them on Survivor again than I can from this season.
Really?
Like even early Boots, I'm like, bring back Brad from 41, you know? Like bring back the whole Green Tribe from 41. I would love to see all of those people again. But then you have this season, there's just a lot of duds, honestly. People, I'm like, I don't care if they ever play Survivor again.
Wow.
I don't want to see them on my screen again. I already saw them on my screen too much, including Sean, including Hannah.
Kendra. Jay.
I don't know. I feel like I could like Kendra in a different situation, but I didn't like her on this season. Jay Maya.
Yeah.
You know, like
but like I would love to see like Sabaya, Caleb, Emily, Austin, Julie, Drew. I would love to see those people back.
Yeah, but like I've had like honestly, they've done such a good job of casting in the new era that like this is probably the season with the least amount of people I'd want to see play again. You know,
Wow.
like I loved 41, like the Ricard and Shan situation.
Yeah, that
you
was
know 42, Marianne, Omer. That bunch. 43, you know, Jesse and Cody, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
That was an awesome. Noelle, like she was great. Owen, Gabler. I mean, just a lot of fun characters. Carla, Cassidy. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine if Carla and Cassidy played on the same season again? The amount of vitriol that would be there after all this Twitter beef that's been happening.
Oh, they're having Twitter beef?
Like every few months, Carla will just like pop on to like try to re-explain why she voted for Gabler to win. Because like it's just like, dude, Carla, get over that.
We get it. We get it. You lost.
We get it.
Fine.
You were a bitter juror. We get it. That's
like
what
that happens.
Everyone was a bitter juror. You don't have to make it up and say something that it wasn't. Like, just go ahead and say like you don't like Cassidy. Just say it. Like that's fine. That's the truth. And so, and then that was 43, and then 44. Obviously, man, like the Tika 3, like that was a great season. Yeah, and so
and Bruce was also on that tribe.
Yeah, and Bruce, who is somehow one of the players I never cared to see again, has played twice in the new era. So make sense.
Well, I mean, he played for like a couple, like 1 hour in the last season. So
I don't know. I might honestly have 45 either the fourth or fifth best season in the new era.
Wow, I liked it, but after the merge, after Kelly got voted out, I was kind of like, all right, we can fast forward 3 episodes here. Thanks, Katurah. Yeah. Like it was just easy. And good for D and good for Austin, bad for viewership. It reminded me a little bit of Boston Rob and the season that he won, Redemption Island. Just systematically going through.
I mean, the boot order for this season was not viewer friendly at all.
No.
Losing Sabaya so early, losing Caleb so early, losing Emily when we did, losing Kelly so early.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of meat left on the bone with those characters that we'll probably never get to see again. So, maybe they'll do New Era second chances for season 50 or something like that, but I wouldn't count on it.
I would hope that they would do another second chances because that one was so successful.
Yeah. Give the fans a chance to vote. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to go through a second chances ballot for the New Era or make a second chances ballot. Or bracket or something. That would be fun. One additional note I have. So Austin, he's a alternate. That has to be why Reba was so stacked, right?
Yeah.
A guy 100%. Like Austin shouldn't be an alternate. Because if some mid dude like me can't show up on a tribe that they're counting on being there, and then you put Austin in, that tribe's going to dominate.
Yeah.
So Reba should be thanking their lucky stars that whoever that was didn't show up. Got sick or whatever the situation was.
Yeah.
Had a
sorry,
meltdown.
That person. Yeah.
Maybe, never know. Maybe they'll be on the next season and they'll say, I was the guy that dropped out of season 45. Who knows?
Yeah. Wow. Well, we have about a minute left. If there's one thing from this season that you'll remember, what would it be?
Oof. Emily Flippin. Financial analyst Emily Flippin.
Yeah. Good job, Emily. We hope to see you again. And congratulations, D. Well-earned win. And we will see you in the future. Maybe if we do another winter season, I'd be happy to see you back and see you play without Austin. We'll see how that goes.
Come on the podcast, any of you cast members, and we'll talk about it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'd love to get your perspective.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be it for season 45. Wow, what a journey that has come to an end. Congratulations, D. I'm Joel. That's Michael. Thank you so much for listening to us all season. And we will see you next time with season 46. This has been season 45 of The Cleaners Have Spoken.
Peace out.